So I just left out of an elementary school doing some observations for a client that we work with. And let me just say this. If we don't save our Black boys, if we don't step up as a community and come to the rescue of our Black boys, we are going to see that gap continue to widen between Black boys who pursue education and skilled labor and Black boys who are illiterate or end up in jail, in the streets. That number is going to continue to grow. And that gap is going to continue to widen between Black girls and Black boys. I watched and observed the Black girls versus the Black boys in this classroom. And this is a very mixed classroom. White kids, Black kids, a few Hispanic kids. I think I saw like one Asian kid, but a mixed classroom. And the boys just they couldn't sit down. They was up, they was being loud, they was having quiet time. The teacher was trying to redirect them. I don't think she was doing enough. Um, and you can just tell that they need more support, they need more structure, and I know that starts at home. But unfortunately all of our Black boys are not in a good home. So where's the village? When does the village kick in? I couldn't help myself. I was there doing observations for a client, and my observations hadn't started yet. They didn't start until about 15 more minutes, and they were doing like some math worksheets in their groups, and I couldn't help it. I called the two little Black boys over there to me, sat them down. What y'all doing? Let's figure this math out. Showed them the math. They were like, oh, that's how you do it. I'm like, well, that's how I learned how to do it. But this is how your teacher's teaching you how to do it, which that's a whole nother topic of why are they teaching these kids this new math concept using these boxes? That's confusing. It was confusing to me. And I just literally breaking it down to me and I was confused. But that's a whole nother topic. What are we going to do for our boys? I literally just saw it again. I already knew this because I've been in education now literally all my life. Since I was a little girl, I was tutoring after school.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus. So what? Somebody sent me this video, right? So this lady, right, Miss Chambers, is kind of trying to speak on the case where essentially she feels like men are going to be obsolete in the future, right? That's essentially what's happening. And I'm going to put this TikTok in the description so you guys can watch it for yourself. But she's talking about how more people need to step up, take charge, because a lot of these Black boys are being left behind, right? And I get it. There's a frustration out there. A lot of maybe men aren't stepping up to actually help these little boys out, and maybe women are carrying a lot on their plate and raising kids and different things like that. But when you take a step back, right, if we're imagining a future where one gender gets left behind, what does that mean for the kids? Because last time I checked, and the last time, well, even before I just came down here to record this video, I just put my son to sleep, right? And my wife is up there, she's doing her thing. But the last time I checked, raising a child isn't a solo endeavor. It's a team effort, right? And when the team is missing a player, that's the whole game changes, right? And I'm not here to bash anyone, and I'm not saying whatever she's saying isn't right, but I do want to be real about what's at stake, right? Parents matter, both of them. And pretending otherwise ignores the data. And these kids, they're the ones who get caught in the middle, right? Now, if we talk about facts for a second, study after study shows children with two involved parents obviously tend to do better, right? She's complaining that a lot of the boys that she's observing, they are exceptionally, there's a huge gap between, the young girls in the classroom and the young boys in the classroom, right? Having two involved parents means that children tend to do better, right? Better grades, lower dropout rates, less trouble with the law, all different things. And we don't even know exactly why there's such a disparagement right now with these children at this school that this Miss Chambers is at, right? There's so many different factors at play right now, right? But a mom and dad, they bring different strengths to the table, and kids are able to thrive when they have both, right? And I'm just making a scientific guess, right? I'm not saying single parents can't raise amazing children. Shout out to all the single parents who are doing the best that they can for the children that they got. But because you guys are heroes, right? But we've got to stop pretending like this is an ideal type of situation. The pandemic literally exposed this by far, right? We kept hearing about, children, taking Zoom classes and things like that and not being up to par with different things like that. And who was really there to guide them, right? Because of it's just so messy, right? You got one overstretched parent or none at all. How do you expect the kids to succeed, right? I mean, if you think about it, she was right in that, she hinted that there's a lot of situations at different kids' homes, kids, failing because the household is not really set up, or it's not really set up to support them. And why is this? Because too often we've got parents, most time moms, not saying that there's no dads out there or single dads who are doing this, but mostly moms who are raising kids alone, while a lot of the fathers aren't there due to several different reasons, or like in Dr. Umar situation, you're estranged from your kids, right? So, you hear people say, oh, just send child support. That's enough. Child support, no, that's not enough, right? Money doesn't read bedtime stories. It doesn't teach you how to tie your shoes or throw a ball. I literally just spent time, giving my son a shower after we just came back from the gym. So what me and my son do, we like to go to the gym together. I hit the weights, he hits the playroom, and then we come back, we link up, and then, we laugh, we talk about what we did. I pick him up from school, different things like that. And my wife does too. She has her own like little things that, she does, and then we all have dinner together. So we have our own culture that we do to cultivate this type of a positive environment for our son, right? Being involved is extremely key. You have to participate. You have to participate in your child's life. You have to show up. You have to be there. You have to care, right? That's what matters. And when any single part of that is missing, kids can feel it. And where things get tricky, again, I'm not blaming single parents. I'm blaming a culture that's okay with having single parents as the norm. We've got people out here, having children with people who don't even care about them, having kids out of wedlock, and then, acting shocked when the system fails. And I'm not saying this is the case for every single body, but we do see it a lot, right? The system is not the problem. Our choices are. And I agree with, what some people are saying, if you're single, no kids, you got double income, what they call it? DINK, double income, no kids. Yeah, whatever. Live your life. That's great. You're not hurting anybody, and, all power to you. But when kids are in the picture, it's not just about you anymore, right? Teachers see this every day. They're not just educators, right? They're essentially glorified babysitters half the time, trying to essentially fill the gaps that start at home. Kids show up unprepared, they're unmotivated because no one's getting them or preparing them for success. And if they don't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, everybody loves that phrase, right? Most 8-year-olds can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, right? Because they're stuck. They don't know how to do it. And a lot of our cultural norms are trash, and we have to admit it, right? We're so obsessed with, how I feel right now that we don't think about the next generation. American culture especially, right? It's always about instant gratification. Do whatever makes you happy all the time, right? But when everyone's leaning into that, the kids are the one who suffer.
But what are we going to do? Y'all, they need us. And even in just that moment, I was able to redirect them, get them to sit down and listen to me, get them to stop running around the classroom. And they came back and said, thank you. Thank you for helping me. And then they ran on out the door being loud down the hallway. I don't know what it was just in that moment when they saw me, but I was like, come here and let's do this math. I was just real firm and direct with them. I can understand their teacher might be frustrated and that might not be her approach, but I'm not even putting it in the hands of them no more. It's on the community. If we got to start our own centers and our own spaces, I offer virtual tutoring. So if you see this message and your child is struggling with math, reading, science, social studies, now with math, I can't do calculus. I can probably stop at like A, B. It gets a little, you get us a little tinkery with me there, but I can do really good with math, science. I have tutored many kids. I have tutored adults, help them get their GED. Please DM me, reach out to me. I'm gonna put my email address in the caption. Like, we gotta save our kids. I do virtual tutoring sessions for 90 minutes with kids for free. I try to do them weekly, but if they can't fit in weekly, we do them bi-weekly. We check in. I give them stuff to do. The parents got stuff to do. This is a real deal thing that I've been doing for years. I help kids college prep, find scholarships, do that.
Man, shout out to Miss Chambers, man. But look, going back to education, right? Programs like No Child Left Behind, they sound great on paper. Every kid, gets pushed through the grades and stuff like that. I was a victim to that, right? Math wasn't always, like, arithmetic wasn't always my strong suit, right? And I know that about myself. Math wasn't always my strong suit, right? I could have used extra push, right, to get my math skills a little bit more honed in, right? Instead of just pushing me through public education and stuff like that, right? It's only years now that I look back like, damn, why they pushed me through? I wasn't even really ready, right? Now you have a situation where after the pandemic, so many kids don't have the refined skills that are needed in order to go into higher education and to go into the workforce. And then when you get into the workforce, then you begin to say, hey, I need a pay raise. I need a higher income, but you don't even have the technical skills. The reason you don't have the technical skills is because back then they said no child left behind. You moved along with the rest of your classmates, and boom, here you go. Who does that help? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the kids in the future. Everybody gets affected by these types of things, man. Right? It's like we have to go back to being able to reinforce education, trades, real skills, right? Not every kid is going to go to college, and that's okay. Be a plumber, an electrician, coder, whatever, something that pays the bills and can help build a life. But if you're coming from a home where no one's pushing you, where one parent's gone and the other parent is barely hanging on, you're already left behind, right? So no program like No Child Left Behind can fix that, right? It just masks it with test scores and feel good statistics, right? At the same time, unless you're a star athlete or a genius or a prodigy, you're not breaking out. You're not standing out. And even then, if you can't read or think critically, good luck. We're failing these kids by not fixing the root, which is family. So where does that leave us? I wouldn't say men aren't getting left behind because women are winning, right? They're checking out because we've let the family fall apart. And women, they're not winning either. They're just carrying more, right? We need both parents in this game, raising children who can thrive and will be successful. Single parent homes are not the goal, so we have to stop acting like it is. They're an extreme challenge, and they need to be overcome, right? Not be celebrated, right? And education. Let's stop putting band-aids on the real problems with programs and start building strong foundations at home, man. But let me know what you guys think. Am I onto something or am I way off? Shout out to Miss Chambers. You guys check out her TikTok. I'm posting it in the description. If you guys know anybody who can utilize this, please send it to them. Please like this video if you made it this far. Hit that notification bell so you always get notified when I drop a new video, and subscribe. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. And never forget, it's you and I verse. Information, application, execution. Until next time, peace.